Welcome back, everyone. Yep, guilty as charged. It can be tempting to fall into the trap of bribing your kids to do what you want.
On the other hand, we are also told never to reward expected behavior, but when is it a reward and when is it a bribe, and is either okay? Joining us now is parenting podcaster Kyriaki, and we're just laughing because in the break we all sat down and we were telling our horror stories.
Yes.
And
So guilty.
I say to my 7-year-old, I will pay you.
I'll pay you.
You want some treats? You want some candy? You want a beanie bear?
Yes.
What?
What do you need? It's so easy to fall into that trap. So for me, it's good to delineate because I do support rewards. I think rewards are a great thing for teaching new skills and for celebrating new behaviors, but bribes can get a little tricky. So for me to delineate the two, a good red flag is bribes are something you use to manipulate into a good wanted behavior or out of a negative behavior. So if you find yourself doing if-then statements, if you clean your room, then you get screen time, it's a bribe. Also, bribes usually happen in the moment where you're in that struggle, whereas rewards, usually you decide on those ahead of time. So if you find yourself in that struggle and you're offering something, step back because that's a bribe.
Okay, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that screen time isn't
Not
a
at all.
reward, but it's just in the moment. You're like, oh, then
how you're doing it. If you do this, then you'll get that. Or you're in the moment and you're offering something, then you can.
So what's the verbiage then that we're switching?
So what you want to do is rewards are a celebration. They're also decided on ahead of time, and it's really your motives, your motivation behind it. So for me, I only use rewards when it's teaching a new skill or it's a behavior, because think about it, as an adult, when we try to create a new habit, it's hard. And that's why most New Year's resolutions fail, right? So if you make it fun or if you make it stimulating, it can help it to stick and become repetitive. So screen time, I might even just keep completely separate. That's something we do for fun, but a reward could be something like when you're teaching your child, this is how we clean, this is where our toys go, this is when we clean, then doing something like having bouncy music makes it fun and can be a reward, and also it's a trigger. So when they hear that bouncy song, oh, it's cleanup time. So things like that. So you can find a way to make it fun and incentive. Another great reward is when you're potty training, to have special books that you only read on the potty. So this is great because kids can find it hard to sit still, and you don't want to fall into that trap of, if you poop, I'll give you a gummy bear. That becomes a bribe. You want to say like, hey, I have some special books we can read while we poop, and that keeps them still and helps them to relax during something that's actually a really difficult thing. So let me tell you really quickly why we don't use bribes.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you, because also when you do it and it is in the moment and something just comes to you, you often regret it. You're like, I wish I could take that back. But why is it bad?
Well, number one, it's manipulative. So you're manipulating your child to get what you want out of them. And so that doesn't teach them anything other than how to manipulate and how to bribe and how to get what they want, which is the opposite of what you want to do. It also doesn't focus, it only focuses on the behavior and changing behavior versus creating clear communication. Kids need clear expectations, and expectations and boundaries should be communicated and enforced. So bribes just blur that line and make it really confusing for kids. So that's why I like to steer away from it, because it actually does more harm in the long run because you're teaching more negative behaviors.
Because then they won't do whatever you want naturally. They'll be expecting the reward. But what about, say, charts? I've done that before.
I love charts.
5 clean days of whatever, clean room or...
Charts are great, and I think that's a great way to kind of create a habit, because we do that for ourselves. Like, I'll put a little check mark on my calendar every time I run, and that gives me a little boost of self-esteem. And so that's a great way. Accolades are also a great way. I love to praise your child, but when I say praise, I don't mean good job. I steer away from a generic good job because that doesn't teach them anything about themselves, and because kids are wired to need our affection and affirmation, then they'll start to say, oh, I did good, I am good, or I didn't do good, am I not good? So instead, I like to say a very specific comment matched with the question. So for instance, wow, you cleaned your whole room. How does that feel? That way they see the accomplishment and then they get to decide how they feel about it, and they're not looking for external validation. And that teaches self-esteem and helps build identity.
Oh, you're so
That's
good.
huge.
Yeah. Okay, real quick, tell us how to break the bribe habit.
You know, it is hard, and you're going to be having to create a new habit for yourself. So the thing is to take a breath, realize that you're the parent, you're in control, and just take a step back. If you find yourself bribing, you can lay out a clear-cut boundary right there and say, hey, I'm asking you to do this. If I have to ask again, we need to have a consequence. So I know it's hard when you're in a hurry or you need to get out the door, but creating these habits now is going to help them their whole lives. So you say that expectation. If the expectation is not met, you come up with a consequence together, and you don't have a consequence ready like, I knew you would fail. You come up like, I'm so disappointed you didn't listen. What do you think we ought to do? Maybe we ought to take away this video game for the week, and then we'll try again next week. But you just stay calm. You're in control, and kids need to know that you're in control. So don't give into the stress of it all and just, fine, $50, you know? And if you do, whatever, we all make mistakes. Try again next time. But yeah, do your best to stay calm, stay in control so you don't fall into that trap.
Oh, there's so many takeaways. I love it. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Where can we find more tips, Kyriaki?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at @_Kyriaki. Also, I'm at thedenmother.net, and you can download the Den Mother podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
That was so good. You just kind of rocked my world. I'm stopping my bribes. All right.
Okay, all right.